Hello everyone. I want to give you a little bit of help getting started with these calculations guides. We're going to give you a calculations guide for the last several experiments in 107 that are the quantitative experiments and require a lot of calculations. We give this to you just to make your life easier because you have some number of trials. In this case, there's 10 trials that we've done in the experiment, and you may not want to calculate them all by hand. You do need to know how to calculate them by hand because you'll be asked to do that on your final exam, but this just saves you some time in the process. So I'd like to show you just a few things that will be helpful as you're using these Excel spreadsheets. The first thing is you may notice that some of these cells are white and some of them are yellow. Okay, I've set up the calculations guides so that you should only type in the white cells. Typing in the yellow cells is bad because the yellow cells have formulas in them that will calculate things automatically. In this case, we wanted to calculate the delta T, the change in temperature, so we just take the highest minus the initial temperature and subtract them. You can see if you click on the yellow cell, it'll show you the formula that's used. In some of the later experiments where we have more complicated formulas, it might be useful to look at this so you can see what's going on. Be careful though, because if you click up here, all of a sudden now you've sort of activated this typing space, and you might click on something else, somewhere else, and all of a sudden it's going to mess up your whole formula. If this happens to you, it's okay, because all you have to do to get out of this is press the escape button, which I'll do now. And voila, everything is back to normal. So be careful of the yellow cells. Try not to type in them. If you do happen to click on them, just push escape and everything goes back to the way it was before. A couple of notes about typing in numbers. I'm just going to type some numbers in over here. Let's say I wanted to put in the number 0.00036. That's a fantastic number and we feel good about it. But let's say my number is in scientific notation. Okay, you may be tempted to type in something like 3.6 and then the X button and then 10 and the caret and -4. So you can type that in and Excel won't tell you anything is wrong with it, but Excel doesn't understand this as a number. It just sees it as sort of text, so it loses its meaning when you do it that way. If you want to type something in scientific notation, then what you do is you use the capital E. So you'll do 3.6 and then capital E -4. It'll end up looking just like how it does on your calculator after you've typed something in scientific notation. And then Excel understands that as a number and is able to use that to do calculations. A couple other things I want to show you. One is how to sort data. So I have this data over here, and I'd actually like it arranged. It's not arranged this way right now, but I'd like it to be arranged from smallest amount of NaOCl to largest amount of NaOCl. So if I highlight just this column, I can go to the data menu up here, or you can go to the toolbar at the top, the data sort function. You can do the same thing, and I can sort this so that it's ascending. So I'll do that. Notice it pops up with a warning. That's because if I just sort this one column, all of the trial data that we want to stay together, because this was one trial over here, is going to not stay with this first column. So if I were to continue with the current selection, then it will only sort that column, and that is not good. So I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to highlight all 4 things that I want to sort together, keeping all the information from the trials together. And then I'm going to click on Sort Ascending, and it's going to sort these guys by the first column in ascending order. Notice the yellow column adjusted automatically. I didn't have to change anything over here because the formulas in the cell take care of that. So it only matters what I type in the white boxes. The yellow boxes will calculate automatically. The last thing I want to show you is how to adjust the best fit lines down here on the stoichiometric chart. So what you can do, your data will be a little bit different than mine. You might have, 3 points above the maximum and 4 points below the maximum or something like that. And you'll have to adjust based on your data. So what you do is you click on this trend line that's here and you say select data. It's a little bit complicated, but you just find the series. We have two. One is the below max and one is the above max. So in my graph, the below max one is this blue line and the above max one is this orange line. So my below max, I want to choose all of my points where the value of the delta t is smaller than the highest delta t, and where the volume of NaOCl is smaller than the volume where we got the highest delta t. So for example here, in this data, the highest delta t was at about 8 milliliters. We can see that here, 8 milliliters, we got 7.4, our highest delta t. So we want to select the points that are before that, a smaller volume of NaOCl. So I go to below max, the ones I want, and I'm going to look at the x values and the y values. There might be something in here, so you should just delete it. And then if you want to select x values, you just come over here and highlight the cells that you want. So I've highlighted 0 to 7.5 because those are all below the maximum value. And then I'm going to highlight the appropriate y values. I want the delta t's in the same range. Notice how I just took the first 5 trials here because that's all I had in the x values. So I adjust them that way and then I say OK, and my line will adjust appropriately. Then you will have these best fit line equations that you can use to solve for where these intersect. That's everything for the calculations guide for this experiment.